And I could never tell why my face just looked harsh, but now what I like to do is tweeze off some of those hairs. Hi guys, so I've been growing out my eyebrows. I haven't touched them for about 2 weeks now, and I wanted to show you how to thread them at home. You want your thread to be about, let's say, like if you're holding it in your hand, you want it to be to your shoulder. And you don't really have to be too specific with the length. It doesn't really matter as long as it feels natural in your hand. The length of the thread really just depends on the size of your hands. So if you have bigger hands, just make it longer. If you have smaller hands, just make it shorter. So what you want to do is you want to tie it at the top, and then you'll have this circle. So just twist one hand continuously, and you'll see it's starting to form a twisted line in the center. So just do that until you have about this much. Oh my God. Okay, so if you have naturally thick hair, you probably have thick hair everywhere. And for me, that definitely applies. So you'll see this is growth just from 2 weeks of not touching my brows. And if I go even longer, there'll be even more. So here's what we're gonna do. You want to open only one hand at a time, because your goal is to move the twisted thread from one end all the way to the other end, and then all the way back to the other end, and all the way back to the other end. So that's basically what you're trying to do, because that twisted thread sweeping across the center, it's gonna pull all your hair out while it's sweeping. So that just cleans up the sparse hairs that are around the top and in the middle. One of my eyebrows is higher than the other and it arches more. So I try to even that out by taking off a little bit more up here than I would over here. I usually don't thread the bottom here. I usually just pluck that. You definitely can thread it if you have somebody hold it up like this, but I don't like to do that just because the skin around your eyes is so sensitive that you don't want to really be tugging it too much, because that would just create more sagging. So yeah, I don't like to do that. So I'm gonna just pluck the sparse hairs here. Fluffy brows are in right now, and if you thread this, you're gonna get a really sharp brow, which if that's what you're going for, you definitely can do that with thread or with tweezers. I like gradual line on the bottom. So I'm just gonna grab some tweezers and go in here and I'll just take out some. Something else I like to do is take off some of the hairs down here to give myself a brow lift. If I just let my brows grow in all the way, they're kind of more angled down. So what I like to do is tweeze off some of those hairs down here to just snatch it a little bit. So basically with the thread, you're doing the big picture stuff. So you can get rid of the hair here with thread and just up here. When it comes to the more detailed stuff, I definitely recommend you go in with tweezers. So as far as the center goes, you want to pretty much align the start of your brow with your nostril on either side. So just imagine a line down here connecting your nostril to your brow. Don't go in any deeper because that wouldn't be proportional to your face. Also, something really important that I feel like just opens up your face is you don't want the start of your brows to be really sharp. You want it to be gradient and soft. So how I do that is I make sure not to tweeze off all of the baby hairs here. So you'll notice with your brows, when they start, you probably have a few random sparse baby brow hairs, and then your like full-on brow will start. So what I used to do back in the day is tweeze all those baby brow hairs. But what that did is it left me with a brow that started with a very sharp line, and I could never tell why my face just looked harsh. But now I realize if you have brows that are very angular, it's gonna take away from the softness of the face. So yeah, now I leave those baby hairs here and here. Sometimes I trim these, but lately I've been liking them. It's crazy how trends with brows change so much. In middle school, I had absolutely out of control brows, and I was so sad that my mom wouldn't let me do anything to them. And I wasn't a rebel, so I didn't think to just do it anyway. I was like, if I don't have my mom's permission, I can't do it. So I just had really bushy unkempt brows all throughout middle school, and I remember everybody else was tweezing them because the really thin brows were in, and that just made mine stand out even more, and I was so self-conscious about it. So basically, don't worry about changing your features to fit a trend, because your features are timeless and trends come and go. Thick brows are a trend, and all trends are cyclical. And even though thick brows are in right now, it doesn't mean they're gonna stay in forever. A lot of things seem to go out of style and come back in style, like in a circle. I like to have mostly a straight line here, going like upwards. Again, not a really harsh line, but just still straight. So I'll tweeze these random bits that are just throwing that off. This one just behaves so well in every way, and then this one is just doing its own thing. But you know what they say, brows are supposed to be sisters, not twins. Or cousins, not twins, or something like that. I forget the saying. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I like to do just to clean up the brows. They're still very natural, but just more groomed. And that's exactly what I was going for. But you can alter this to achieve your desired results. So if you wanted like a more snatched look rather than natural, you can do that. Just take off more of the sparse ones, and yeah, you can take off more from the bottom here. You can trim the longer ones. You can really just alter it and make it exactly what you want. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you guys have any other questions, and I'd be happy to get in more detail. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye. I'm gonna show you what's happening to your hair when you're threading it on this scrunchie. So essentially, you're trying to get your hair caught up in this twist. So imagine this is your hair. First, start with a twist all the way on one end so that you can sweep it this way, and then when it's on this end, you just sweep it that way. So you see how now the hair is just fully tangled in there? So that's essentially what it's doing to the hair on your face. It's tangling it up in that twist, and then it just pulls it out of the hair follicle.